JuneUniverse at Ninja Intuitive 3 minutes blind intuitive reading quickies. Thank you for connecting me at this time of your day, allowing me in your experience, participate in co-creation of this energy of oneness by listening, requesting leading. This is JuneUniverse. Today's podcast, I would like to give my focus on intuitive energy healing instead of reading. And last week, I happened to have a good friend of mine, wonderful psychic healer, Chandrala, for a live healing that I was thinking that, this is nice to give a focus on healing, and I just enjoy having her sharing a wonderful co-creative energy and healing. And synchronicity happened, and one of the energy community that I am part of also focusing that healing and working on our internal roadblocks, challenges that to move on to the next step. So everybody is given attentions and work on that own element that needing attention to redirect in a way that's supportive to our new reality creation, instead of resisting to reacting or not touching as the issues and problems and something that is negative to our presence. Once we are ready to touch that area, we are able to free the space, use that energy into a more supportive move for a new creation. However, doing is a lot challenging than saying, which I know. But if you are laughing with me, listening like this, and then you have a very good awareness of yourself. So I really congratulate that awareness and your conscious participation to your life creation. That's a wonderful thing. And speaking of conscious creation and awakening intuitions, and people uses different terminology, but basically how you would participate to our own life. The participation stance is unique to each one of us, but what I believe is that we are all here for love, joy, and happy. Everything else is to experience that three element to me on this earth reality and living. So how we can fully engage into that three element in everyday life. So something outside of that three element will help us really get to know what makes us happy, what makes us joyful, what makes really embracing love and its meaning. And when you know, and wow, that itself is transformed in different types of love and shapes, and so that's, I guess, the life journey on Earth to feels like a never ending and always living in under construction site in case of my journey. And so when we give our attention to problems or issues, it always there, never ending. So the question comes to which view you gonna take, which view you prefer. That viewer, conscious us, has the power to see what we see, even in the same situation, same room. We have a power to which direction we want to give our attention to. Do we want to give attention to lack of something, a problem, or negative issues? Or we can choose other way because that is happening. So we can be more appreciate to something what is available. Without that issue, maybe we are not aware of what is making us more true self, aligning in love, joy, happy, with peace. Or the peace is important also. So everything else, emotions and bringing the information for us to choose what we are capable to choose, the feeling. And everything is happening now, here, moment. So we give our attention to the past. We bring that past into here, this now moment. And then we think about tomorrow, future, now. And then we bring future into now. So now is bilocated between past and future. It's always now, here. So it's also our choice too. Giving attention all the memories back. Fun thing, that's fine. Pain, memories, and all piles of unfinished issues becoming tissues, bothering our movement here now. And then align to the future self now here. Something is bothering. Something deserves clear flow of the oxygenations and intaking newness so that we can more freely allowing ourselves experience something new based on what we learn for preference for what makes us happy. So one day I was working on some homework of a creative life classes, and one of the assignment asked us to live in something, choosing what we like to do, and then report, what we are noticing and what we found out inside and out. So I remember I went to zoo, actually. Just this is the thing, like you've got to do that by yourself. So you intimate self, you take you out to somewhere and then dialoguing or like just to connect here now with you and taking care of ourselves needs. So, and not necessarily entertaining, but to more taking ourselves to the intimate place and time and space and observe and talk. So I chose the zoo just by myself and then connecting to the element that I noticed there in the zoo time and visiting many areas and connect it to animals. I'm making eye contact and then just observe and connecting. That's an interesting experience. Consciously doing it as a purpose. And then I went to the monkeys cage. It's a pretty nice sized cage, clean and very organized. And then I was reading the introduction and stories and how they live in that environment, kind of description at the front of their zone. And then some portion caught my attention that was so the caretaker of monkeys creating some problems in the environment for the monkeys. So that monkeys always dealing with the problems and solving the problems using their ability that will make them health maintained. So in order to keep the healthy mental balance, caretaker intentionally create a different type of problem each day. So I was like, what? That was an eye-opening dynamic that at that time I was overwhelmed with the issues and problem and solvings, and actually problem solving was my job, so to speak. So problem solving, I just getting away from that assignment, and I do not want to have the problems. That was the time that I was feeling deeply. So prefer to not to touch any problems. So putting myself into no problem issue. So that will isolate a little bit to not to engage in into much activity so that no need to deal with the problem. Denial type typical. And then reading that monkey's description, it's like, wow, so then perhaps that myself, putting myself into unhealthy situation. You know what I mean? So dealing with the problems is part of a healthy mentality. So, and then that makes sense. I mean, that involving something and to tackle something new to solve, to make it better. And there's some sort of accomplishment, feeling good to, you know, solve the problem. That's an accomplishment. And that can be a healthy part of our psyche somehow. And it comes down to balance. So it's a in human life there seems to be always a problem, and that's part of the problem, never gone. It's just a matter of how you want to involve and how you want to relate to that issue. So no need to reactive to it, but just to choose the stance to participate. But some issues, if you are type denial like myself, that the things are becoming bigger and bigger, and it's like significant amount of energy needed to tackle that issue, because the beginning was very small. And if you're like shooting at the immediately, if you notice it, and then not so much growing as the what I'm having in my experience. But anyway, so and then somehow that some level that I'm talking about myself, giving attention to make it grow and use it as an energy to use it as an flipping over and shifting other related dynamic to make the big change. I mean, not the big change, but the massive change related to other areas. And I still not so familiar with the part of me to establish a good relationship with myself, but I'm getting to know myself about that subconscious part. So it's allowing it, and when the time comes, you've got to participate in a way. So there's come to the choice. Sometimes that it's a familiar type of energy creating that issue, asking to take action to change the dynamic. That's fine. And recently I noticed that more kind of challenging or irritating or frustrating or energy draining is that something that we don't know what to deal with it. It's a new. So the sign is that to get really frustrated, energy draining, it's really upset, it's really sad because we are not sure how to relate to that issue. So that means like a universe gave us a new type of lessons because we are ready for it. And then it's a learning curve, like emotionally reacted and physically like behave in a strange way. I think that's a natural and normal reaction if you are aware of your own behavior through journaling. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, and then willing to get to know what I'm talking about, I suggest you to do a journaling. The feeding journaling, like each week we choose what kind of feeding we want to have, scanning the current feeding, and then we embody that feeding at the end of the show. I think we should do that today also. But so just to jot it down the feeding each morning or the afternoon before closing your eyes 3 times, or one time, anytime, like just handy notebook and pen and jot it down that honest feeding, just like observe reporter of your own feeding and jot it down. And then do it for like, don't look back, just to do it for 2 weeks. And then the third week we may want to, check what you are feeding. So the more you report you are feeding day and time, so then you can track back later, and then you can get in touch with yourself, like because we forget. I mean, that's the beauty of it, human system. But sometimes it's useful for having a document to our own self to get to know ourselves where we are, because we are changing all the time. At this present moment, I'm already a different person from what I greeted today as an introducing my name. Hi, JuneUniverse. I'm totally already a different me. So is you. So it's not a good or a bad. It's just a changing, constant change. So what we can do using our power is to change for the better, align to our purpose. What is happy, joy, peace, love. Everything else teaches us to where we are heading, to redirecting our attention. So, and then get in touch with that part of us, help us to know where we are. And if some particular issue was given to deal with because we are ready and unsure about how to participate, solve it. And one of those moments, I suppose that we are really in the major awakening or change of the spiritual path, that the pieces is going to change and flipping over. Sometimes it's like the other side of the coin, like flipped over all of a sudden, aha, you know. And then the aha comes right after you awake from a sleeping time or something. Maybe it's this sleeping dreaming state will reflect and digest all the conscious experience in the subconscious level. Who knows? So, but the ideal, I think, from my experience, and then suggest to you is that to knowing that where you are, and then accept that, allow that to be okay, and then it's hard for myself, but just to be careful to reactive to other person. That is not wise choice. And then especially like intense energy, it's a miller. It's coming back, and then you're gonna get burned out. So, however, we learn that dynamic by some sort of like a scars on our ourselves and burned out a little bit. So, but we can practice to make it a better way to relate to that situation. Um, so let's check in for the emotional being current state for the week. I would like you to give your attention to yourself and then noticing what you're feeling right now. Where are you? The feeling state. What are you thinking in your mind, in your emotions, and your stomach, and your body? Is any part of you sending your conscious information? I am noticing I'm right now, it's very flowing, allowing, very open. Usually I am more consciously intending to hold myself presence, like, well, I'm gonna hold a space for, like this podcast, and then I just want to be in my body, kind of intention I'm saying. But today I'm very open and flowing, and it'd be lovely if you come and flow with me, kind of very natural, neutral, like a liver flowing kind of. But at the same time, I am very conscious about here now in my body, so feel good. How about you? Where are you? If you have a pen and paper near you, write it down for your spirit's sake. And then if you're doing something else, maybe walking outside or about to closing your eyes in the nighttime in your day to finish, or starting your day driving, just I really recommend you to find some tool that you can track where you are in the feeding. It's up to you, but it's nice to make it as useful. And this is only you can create for yourself. I just support, but everybody can support each other. And but you are the action taker. You got to support and build the tool for yourself. So. All right, so let us take a long deep breath together, counting 3 from the nose now. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Breathe. Okay, now I would like you to choose the feeding at the end of today's gathering. We have another 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so. So let us choose the feeding that how we would like to feel when we say goodbye, good night. Let's start the day today. So I would like to have the feeling of exciting, flowing and exciting. That's I would like to have at the end of today's gathering. So how about you? What kind of feeling you like to have at the end of today's gathering? Today I like to give my focus to the healing, intuitive healing and energy shift. At the end of today, what kind of feeling you like to have in your heart? Write it down or you embody the feeling. So then let us take another deep breath together from the nose, counting 1 now, 2, 3, hold it, hold it. So today, especially given my focus on intuitive healing, I'd like to share the words that I downloaded for today, like healing the dynamic. It's always starting with ourselves, and the words came to me is respect, accept, trust, honest. So respect ourselves, accept ourselves, trust ourselves, honest ourselves. So I like you to connect with as a respect yourself, accept yourself, trust yourself, honest to yourself. And embodying this 4 words, truly, like owning for ourselves, like hugging ourselves, taking the air all around us. So I'm going to read this word and then let's take a deep air into ourselves, in taking all this energy of this respect, accept, and trust and honest to ourselves, and hugging, fully allow that to coming into ourselves, because everything is starting from us here now. So let's do that. Let's take a long deep breath, air all around us, in taking respect, and we accept ourselves, and we trust ourselves, and honest to ourselves. And then we take this to our root energy, at our core essence, and realigning into this conscious awareness, the feeling of connected to ourselves with respect, as is, accept as is, trust as is, and honest as always. Allow our heart to align to this energy. And then now that to connect with others with respect, accept, trust, honest. So we respect as is, accept as is, trust as is, and honest as is. To the situations, to the person, to the environment, to the issues now came to our attention. And take all this energy right now to take as is, accept, and then know that we're gonna notice what would make us feel better in the next moment creation, here now. And we invite the courage to leave what is harmful, no longer resonance, to this respect, accept, trust, honest. So excuse us from element is outside of this energy. We may need to find a way to tell with respect, accept, trust, and honest. Sometimes it comes from the belief systems and the cultural difference. As long as we are in that same environment, our sensor is not sensing different availability. However, once we open to the idea that it is happening outside of belief system, cultural limitation, and then we will see what we see. However, we don't see. So there's a gap between, and sometimes we are encouraged to move on, to trust in own value, and give ourselves respect, accept, trust, honestly, to create the alignment, what heart matters to the most as our new reality. So when we are too close to the situation, it's very difficult to see. That's why the things about ourselves is difficult to see, and nice to have a reliable resource that reflect what in here as a mirror, and that mirror to be trustworthy in that way that we would like to honestly open and reflect in the honest, naked heart, naked soul, naked spirit. It's such a wonderful environment. However, sometimes it's we encouraged to get some burnout, like too naked. Sometimes it doesn't align to the environment. So when we go expanding the horizon or community, whatever the growth, and reaching out to the new arenas or communities, and we may want to get to know that temperature in their world and finding the mutuality as a first stage, and having that awareness, that mutual energy as in a home energy, like homey energy as a family. That doesn't need to be a biological family, but resonance to the same awareness, or like the pulls coming from the same value to share and grow, and and coming back here as like the family energy, and then going out and then come back. It's like it's a nice balance to have own expansion in balancing way. So once you find a family, like where to go home, where to come back to, the journey become more easier and happier, like a more secure, like feel more supported and more grounded. And that's one of the things that I would like you to feel here as a home, like a soul's home, that to an others community that we can share as an insight and energy to resonate what we need to resonate, and support what we feel as what we feel, you know, and so that we can regain our own power, being part of group as one, and to start the new day, and just connect each week to know where you are, and then when you resonate, you just adjust for your better resonance. So that's my wish for doing this as a community service. And today I'm providing intuitive healing. So the healing, the boundary is interesting topic, and that came to me as an attention because what I notice is that each cultural has its own unique boundary. The culture I grown up with has more closer boundary to individual, like almost like a busybody, so to speak. Um, and in some level, however, some level is very dry, and the culture that I've been with is more independent, individual. However, it's so caring. It's so supportive and so caring and open-minded. So, and I only know the two different cultures, like through my own experience, but I'm sure that each has unique way to relate to self and relate to others. So that's one of the things, the world becoming smaller, but however, there's a lot to learn, even the same human being, but the human is influencing the condition and environment. Um, so that the game is to get to know that each other as a human in different environmental, conditioned being as a personality. But the basic human needs is love, happy, joy, peace. It's the same as long as we're human. So, um, knowing that core essence of the humanity outside of that belief systems and culture influence remain a good part as a co-creative expression. However, leave that no longer needing is get the lessons and head out of here, that kind of dynamic I'm seeing. And this boundary, the own space and my space, and this is her space, this is his space, this is their space, this is my space. That and then the together space, it's a loving space, sharing co-creative, unconditional love and intimate love or mutual co-creative love, whatever any different type of togetherness is there. However, knowing what is most comfortable to ourselves is the beginning of it for the protection. Um, and then these boundary issues, and for example, like people so draining, like a feeling of like I'm so tired, and then that gives us an opportunity to review inside of us that what is making this feeling to me, you know. So that the question we want to ask is that when we feel the too close, the emotional respect, response as like, "Whoa, this is too close," and it's like overwhelming, feeling overwhelming, and that feeling like being forced to do that, like being pushed. It's so draining. That kind of feeling you have for some dynamic, then that's a good sign that where would be the comfortable space for you. And then knowing that what will make you feel comfortable in the dynamic and what would be ideal to have the feeling in the dynamic. And then what would make you feel comfortable, safe to be who you are as an honest, accepting, respecting self. However, the other person needs to know where is the comfortable space for you, and then you need to know which part is reacting to it. So this is a wonderful opportunity to get to know about our own feelings and self-comfortable zone, which is a safe, loving, trust, open, respect, accept. It's like a home. And then question comes down to sometimes home is not the comfortable place that deserving your clarification. Maybe that's a good time to create your own home, based on your value. And then the current homie, is telling you that what is the value you really need to embrace and surround it. So then you can start from that point to embody your home. Maybe that's your time. This is JuneUniverse. Today I am given healing, intuitive healing for conscious living creation. Normally I provide intuitive insight, 3 minutes blind reading, and share 3 minutes here each week. Anonymously requested insight request. You can go to www.thatfutureforecaster.com, www.thatfutureforecaster.com, and then submit your request. And I haven't provided the section yet, but you can also request the healing too. I mean, sometimes healing would be better than intuitive insight. So I would like to start giving healing also. So it's a first healing. Run out of time, another 3 minutes. So real quick, just to pick one healing request here. Which one would be good? Okay, healing. I think. Yeah, I like to do so. Healthy healing, healthy boundary, the family. River Rock. So 3 minutes, but I'll just quickly healing. I have a sense that there is an dark place that you've been feeling alone in the family dynamic, but seems like the down right now and horizon is coming up. That's because of your way of participating as a family member is more clear about standing on your own new reality. No matter what other members are saying, that's fine. I think it's wise you are choosing that direction now to let them be as is, and I am embracing what I am. Um, More and more you embody that, and your body will naturally move following your embodiment. So that feeling as one with unconditional love and respect, being part of the member, and at the same time feeling that you deserve to embody your love and express in that love and value in as your new family. So I'm sending a healing. You're doing a wonderful job, and trust that synchronicity bring the sign, and then follow through naturally, and send love to the rest of the family member, and they will notice at some way, and the dynamic will fit in the way as one, as family, and you will feel completely fine with that stance to dance being part of the family. Thank you for your request. This is JuneUniverse. Thank you for your participation for co-creative oneness. How you're feeling right now? I feel energized. Thank you. Very good. Look forward to connecting with you next time here. Until then,